I would take a club that had been good but was quiet, and in a few weeks I would have a marketing program I would do, which was my unique way, and I would have queues down the road within like 3-4 weeks. I make money, money doesn't make me. And that one mantra helped me understand I'm going to be okay wherever I go. And I went to my competitors and they said, well, look, two things. If you go, there's only a couple of us here, the clubs are going to come to us anyway. And also the celebrities and the big people that come, they're coming for you.
Welcome to the CEO DNA podcast, the podcast for entrepreneurs, founders and CEOs and people who really want to live in their 1%. That means people who really want to learn from each other and have best practices. And today we have a very special guest on the show who talks about his experience being in the top 0.3% of the multi-level marketing experts in the world. And also he's a serial entrepreneur who already built $1 million business in several industries, but also being a dad and also have a personal life, because he also had at the beginning of this year a heart attack. And he also talks openly about that. So a big welcome to our special guest today, Dan Banks, Nachmias. How are you?
I'm doing a little bit better than extraordinary. Thank you for having me today. It's a huge honor to be here.
Thank you. You are a serial entrepreneur, also now CEO of a new venture where we talk later about. What is a good CEO for you? What are good characteristics or what is a good DNA of a CEO?
Well, that's a big question. I think that first, look, a good CEO has to have a vision, has to have belief. They have to have the biggest belief and commitment ahead of anybody else. Right. And I think the way to lead the team and the company is to really hold yourself to accountability of like a 10 out of 10 in all areas. And I think how you show up, it inspires the team to participate, you know? So I think if you want the team to believe in the mission, you have to believe in the mission and the vision of where you're going. I think if you want to operate in high standards, you know, if you want the company to operate in high standards, you have to operate in high standards.
So would you say also the speed of the leader is the speed of the team?
I think speed is definitely one of the key factors.
Yeah,
absolutely. I think.
But as a CEO, you also need to kind of give the rhythm, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
The rhythm and standard. I mean, I like to use the word standard because I think standard is more than just speed, but speed is part of the standard.
So true.
Yeah. But
how do you implement standard now in your teams and in the businesses that you built before?
Okay, so I mean, what we're doing now, we're in a startup, so we're in a very small team, but again, we're building it. In terms of previously, I think that, look, standards is something that's been generally internal. I've done some stuff initially, because I know we're going to come on to this later, right? But I did a lot of personal development with Tony Robbins. So there's a lot of stuff that I've learned later that makes me understand what I did when I was younger, because I had a successful business when I was younger. I didn't know what I was doing, but I can articulate now. So number one, it's how we lead ourselves initially as a leader.
To be a role model?
To be a role model. But
I
also
like that,
for me,
yes.
But part of the guiding thing for me that got me successful in business in the first place, when I'm person one in the business before the team is built, yes, is wanting to do more than anybody else is doing, wanting to add more value than anybody else is doing. So I look at my competitors and I think, how can I do even more, give even more than what they're giving? This is the first thing.
For the customer or in that regard?
In every regard. So generally for the customer, but that also sometimes means working earlier. Like I believe when you get up early, like this morning I've been up since 4 a.m. Right,
nice.
Working. Okay, so the more early you're up, you know your competitors are sleeping. So then you've got a chance to operate and find different...
Right, to be ahead basically, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was always the first in the office. As the team gets bigger, the way you're able to do more and hold those standards is to create a culture. Right. Because you can't just duplicate yourself, but when you create a culture, and if 2 or 3 or 4 people join that culture, as new people come in, it becomes the standard. And whoever doesn't hold that culture either won't want to be there, or the rest of the team will push them out. Right. You know. So
yeah.
So culture.
Interesting. Yeah. So be a role model, develop a culture. What else would you say?
I think, well, in part of developing a culture, I mean, they're two big things, but there's many steps to get there. Easy to say, difficult to do. I think to develop a culture, you need to have strong core values. So you need to think, what do we want to stand for? Like, what's our key USPs, differentiating issues? What's really important to us that from a perspective, you know, we know this is the area we're going to own.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you then recruit people and teach people that from the beginning. I think if we go on to it's a big question, but you go into SOPs, like standard operating procedures. So how we can systemize things. So again, we can scale, right? And then, so when I was younger in business and we were first starting out, I used to employ people that were friends of mine or people I thought I could trust.
Yes.
And eventually that leads to disappointment because you're betting on the person.
Yes.
But when you can systemize a standard of things, right, and then you can teach core values that people adopt, yes, you're no longer relying on somebody to work out, is this right or is this wrong? It's like we have clear things. This is what needs. This is. You know, it's like if I went to the Rolls Royce factory, you know, where they make the Rolls Royce, and everything is handmade, right? And they show you like the standard of how they make everything in alignment. You know, it's not left to chance. There is a system that's done. It's not what one person thinks. You know, yeah. And this is you know, this is how we do it. And then KPIs as well. If we want to outperform, we have to know. As part of that as well, like
how often do you track the KPIs then with your team, for example?
So generally, it could be weekly or monthly. Sometimes it's daily. It depends on, you know, what we're doing. Yeah. In network marketing, it was daily. You know, one of the KPIs is how many people you speak to a day. You know, so in some of my other businesses, I had a security systems business, and we would look at monthlies. Yeah. You know, so but again, it depends who's tracking it and how we get together as a team. So,
I'm super excited for the talk because you have been in so many different industry and businesses, right? So it started with you all in multi-level marketing?
No. My first business was in nightclubs.
Okay, nightclubs.
Well, technically it was in security systems. So the name escapes me now. Like a contracting business. Yes. Okay. So where I started from, I grew up very humble beginnings. In the UK, in London, and my dad was made redundant in the recession, and so he borrowed some money and he started. He was an engineer and he started his own engineering business. Right. So while I was at university, I would make phone calls to try and help him with the business. So this was my first experience in business, and why do we do it? Because we needed to survive to pay the mortgage. Yeah. And this was the driving force. And I would see my dad working, and he had cancer. He was going through chemotherapy at the time. So this was the situation. So eventually we got some business. I remember winning some of the jobs, and I was in sales, and I would go meet the people, and I was young, and I wouldn't really understand what the guys were telling me. They used this like language, like jargon for the industry. And one guy said to me on one job, it was like for like £200,000 or something. It was many years ago. Said, "You're my preferred," and I wasn't sure if it was a good thing. Okay. But anyway, the long story short, we got it, and we grew. Nice.
So preferred means you're my shortlist.
Yeah, my shortlist.
My number one from all the options at this moment.
Exactly. Yeah. And anyway, then when he finished the meeting, like, okay, so we'll send the order to you. I said, I think this is a good thing. So and many things happen like this in business. So I think, you know, you have to have this confidence in a way to start, because when you say CEO is a big company. The CEO has to still start here at one point, you know, with the vision, with the balls to go and do it, you know, when no one's believing it, you know. So anyway, I started in the part-time. So I was at university, I was doing this, like helping my dad. He was the main guy, and I was doing some admin and some phone calls and things like this. And then I started in nightclubs. And how I started in nightclubs is, in 17 years old, I got my driving license, and I was one of the only guys to drive, and I would drive my friend to the club, and it evolved like this, okay? And so bit by bit, I helped my friend, and one thing led to another, and this became, so I would have a day job and a night job, yeah? And that helps me, because in nightclubs, people would get drunk and on drugs, and it would mess their life. And for me, I know I'm getting up early in the morning to do phone calls, and so I couldn't do this, exactly. So, so with this, I had different skill sets. Right. And we'll get to this later on, because I know you want to talk about the startup later, but all these skill sets added, because in my peak success in nightclubs, so in this security systems business, I learned telephone manner, how to pick up the phone, sales, rejection, admin. I put the quotes together on Excel. So I would like learn some of this basic stuff. In the nightclubs, it was more personality, and I learned more marketing, like how to really bring people out. So we got to a point where I was bringing out 5,000 people a week across different clubs. Right. You know, and my speciality became, I would take a club that had been good but was quiet, and in a few weeks I would have a marketing program I would do, which was my unique way,
Right.
and I would have queues down the road within like
Oh, wow.
3-4 weeks.
Before we go deeper, a quick note. 48% of watching haven't subscribed yet to the CEO DNA podcast. If this show brings you real conversations with real leaders and visionaries, then joining the CEO DNA community helps us to bring even more powerful minds on this show. We don't run ad, we don't chase noise, we build conversations that change how founders and visionaries and people think. So if you want more of that, then please take a second, subscribe, and let's build this movement together.
So what were some of the secrets here that you, of course, made different marketing with them? I don't know, invited some more
So I developed my own
celebrities or yeah.
Yeah, so partly celebrities. So essentially, I would sit there and write down, and sometimes analyze in my head, not always write down. Today I'm older, I don't need to write it down, right? 5 or 10 key things that's going to make a difference.
Right.
And I would think, how can I do all of them? Someone would say, this is who we're going to be. Like, I don't know, hypothetically, like celebrity.
Right.
Someone would say, we're going to be the email database. I mean, I was one of the first companies in the UK to use multi-text messaging.
Nice.
Yeah, for the nightclubs. Okay, so we would do things like that. So I would write down, and I would always kind of actually share. I would always bring in partners. So my formula for a nightclub, for example, we had built up over years an email database. So building a database was one part of it that was ongoing for a long time. The second time was I'd need a hook. And again, bear in mind, in this time, this is like over 20 years ago, we didn't have all the education that we have online about marketing. So this was just something I pieced together. My hook was generally the celebrity.
Yes.
A celebrity, a brand event, a brand partnership event, we used to do Ed Hardy, if you remember Ed Hardy,
Yes,
Ed
I
Hardy
do,
party.
yes.
So we
Okay,
did this.
nice.
This was very unique. No one in my industry was doing this, yeah?
Right.
So we bring in the parties or the celebrities. I would have the database that I'd been building up separately. I understood, guys want to come for the women. So how do we ensure all the good looking women there? So we'd have ladies free before 11. So this was another method. We're reducing our potential sales, right? But actually it made it better. I would bring 10 of the best people and I would give them all an opportunity to bring a table and pay like 10 different people. So I'm now leveraging the smaller people, but like as a family. So what I understood was, if in this industry, but in anything, if you're going out and you're going to speak to, and you're either a good looking girl or you're a wealthy guy or whatever, you're in a good look, the it crowd, you're going to speak to 5 or 10 people. Where do you want to go today? And if this person's going to if everyone's coming to my event, eventually it's going to convert everybody to come to my event.
Yeah.
So I would make sure I would secure the main movers in my event.
Okay, so a lot of like kind of, I call it like first principle thinking or street smart as well to see how can we do
It was
this.
street smart then. Today it's probably marketing, it's intelligent marketing that's taught all the time. But if you go back 25 years ago, I was 22. No one was teaching this stuff then, so it was more street smart then.
But I like the idea to really sit down and write down on a piece of paper, like what are the things that really make a difference, and can I not do them all, right?
Yeah.
So that's
how can I do them all?
Yeah, how can I do them all, or what has the biggest leverage, and what are maybe even, if not the top 3 or top 5. At what point does someone truly become an entrepreneur? Because you now just started out of the need to really make money to pay your bills at home. When do you think somebody becomes an entrepreneur?
Well, I think essentially they become an entrepreneur when they have the guts to start on their own. Look, listen, I mean, I've never been employed. I don't think, other than a part-time job when I was at university. So maybe I'm lucky, maybe not. I went into entrepreneurship at a very, very young age. Yeah, in fact, actually, I was going to qualify as an accountant, and I got a job, and I lasted like a few weeks, and I quit because I had already been working in the family business to try and help my dad. So I just couldn't work for somebody and I was really self-motivated. So I think if you've got the self-motivation, which is underrated, by the way. People think, I'll go into business for myself, and they can crash easily because to be self-motivated daily isn't easy.
Yeah.
To have the balls to especially if you have been in a job and you're used to getting a regular wage, which has never been me, but I would imagine that to give that up, and I've seen it being in network marketing, we've had all sorts of people join, and I've seen that they're very capable, but once you take that safety net away, they crumble. They don't. So I think to be an entrepreneur, you have to have the guts to start, but to remain an entrepreneur, you have to not give up and keep going.
I think the discipline and the persistence is something often underestimated. It's like, it's good to go at the beginning of the year to the gym, You know, you see always the first week in January, so many new faces in the gym, and then the second week and third week, it's less and less. So I think it's understanding that this is a long-term game. I always call it a marathon, sometimes in sprint speed, but for sure. No, interesting. So then, yeah, you kind of started then, this businesses and turned into then also the nightclub business, where you also generated a lot of traffic for nightclubs. And then you said, okay, now I also want to go in multi-level marketing.
So let me explain to you what happened. So you started by saying that I had some downs at the beginning of the year. So my life has been ups and downs, okay, because this is a long journey. I'm 47 now. So I started in nightclubs at 17, and I had the family business as well, similar sort of time. So I started pretty young, and in my peak, we won awards in the nightclub industry. I had an office in Mayfair. I did it very differently. I would go to meetings. My industry in the nightclub industry was primarily, there was only 2 or 3 big players, one of which was me. But most of the guys were like young guys, really trying to sleep with girls and have like a party time, and they were making small money, and it was like a part-time kind of job. I had in 25 years old, a Lamborghini convertible, Porsche convertible. When I go to meet the owners, they understand I'm here to make money. This is the first thing. So, but the biggest lesson I got was when I tried to sell the business. So again, I grew up poor. I started making a lot of money, and I had a lot of success. And one day I said, I don't want to do this anymore. I hit like my early 30s. My friends were settling down, getting married. I was single, and I didn't want to be with like 18-year-old girls. I said, I want out of this business. This is not the business for me anymore. But what am I going to do? But I don't know, but I want out. How can I sell the business? And this was a big lesson, because my first thing was, how do I make money? Because now I'm making money, but I never had an exit strategy. I didn't understand business. I just understood I'm hustling to make money, right? And we hustled well, and we did good. Yeah. When I tried to sell, I started to understand that I couldn't sell. I didn't have a business to sell. And that's basically essentially what happened. I was making, back in those days, £50,000 a month cash in my 20s, which was a lot of money 25 years ago, whatever it was, right? And I went to my competitors, and they said, well, look, 2 things. If you go, there's only a couple of us here. The clubs are going to come to us anyway. And also the celebrities and the big people that come, they're coming for you. And I was like, no, but they were my personal friends, and they went on a loyalty kind of thing if they felt safe, and you couldn't sell that. So I was a big part of the business, and I couldn't sell it. So one day I closed the doors. So I went from up here to 0. So that was a big lesson. And
so why did you say you closed the door? So you said, look, I want to get out of it. I wanted to have a family at this time. I understand.
A few things. So, I mean, look, it was a gangster industry. Like, again, when I went into it initially as a businessman, I was naive. And I remember I'd eventually meet people as I got more successful and say, it's all run by gangsters. I said, no, this guy's a businessman. He's my friend. And you get further in, and you start to see that it's gangsters. And, you know, again, I was very connected in the UK, in London. I was in a good place. I was very successful, but it started to become something I didn't like.
Yes.
Yeah, right. And I felt...
Gangster industry sounds also like, of course, in the nightclub, sometimes there are also some trucks or some other things going on.
For sure. So what it means is that the clubs are either owned by some sort of mafia or protected by some sort of mafia. Wow. Because what's going on in the clubs is always drugs and everything, you know, so it's a big cash. And again, we're in a very different era today. Yeah. But 25 years ago, if you've ever seen the old movies of Marbella, you know, like, you know, this, The Business. Yes. Things were different with bags of cash. It was like, you know, today we're in a different, everything's digital. You can't move, the black money's shut down. But back then life was different. Wow. You know?
So, and then what, then you said you closed the doors. What was the next step?
So then I went back to the family business. Okay. So this is, and in a very short period. So I helped the family business grow because I was part-time, and I was cross networking with my family business and the security system in the nightclubs. Yeah. So the nightclub owners would get me to put the security systems in. Right. I would invite my security clients to my nightclubs, because this is like entertainment, and it looks cool because we did all the celebrity parties. We did parties for Pamela Anderson, Rihanna, and all this. So, you know, my clients that are giving me big contracts, they want to see that stuff, and it's nice to, you know, so that was easy. So it was more like part-time. So I went back in more full-time, and eventually, in a short period, we grew. I was working with my younger brother and my dad mainly. My younger brother couldn't keep my pace of growth because I was in sales, he was in fulfillment. And so we started to clash. It turned into a big argument one day, and I walked out of business as well. So in like a space of a short period of time, I had no business.
Yeah, you walked out from your own business and also from the family business, yeah.
And I was But I want to share something with you and for your listeners.
Yes,
Before I went back into this family business and I left nightclubs, I developed a mantra that has saved my life in everything, because I've had many iterations. I'm a serial entrepreneur and I've gone in and out of different businesses for different reasons. Yeah. So I started to question when I was going to leave nightclubs, who am I going to be? Because when I was in nightclubs, I was like the guy to know in London. So celebrities would come off, footballers would find my number. Oh, so this person told me you're the guy to know. The singers would come off the TV. Oh, so-and-so gave me your number, you're the guy to know, okay? So who am I?
Because you helped them to get into the
because
nightclub.
I ran a lot of nightclubs. It was
yes.
It was my club. I would partner with the club and I would run everything in that club. The people downstairs, from the music, everything was mine.
Oh wow!
Right?
Yeah.
So then I said, who am I going to be? Because right now everyone's calling me, but what are they going to call me for? Who am I? Well, like, what's my worth anyway? And I went through and I said, okay, well, look, no one gave me this business. I made this business.
Right.
Yeah. I got poor. I've made this. Okay. And how have I made it? I've made it with my people skills. I've made it with my work ethic. I've made it with my ability, my want to do more. And so I make money. Money doesn't make me. And that one mantra helped me understand I'm going to be okay wherever I go.
Wow.
Because when I went through that kind of breakdown, this was all pre-Tony Robbins. So when I met Tony Robbins, he gave me more like insights to understand what I had already understood in some areas, right? Yeah. But that understanding of, actually, I have these transferable skills. That's what made the business. It's not just I'm in the right place at the right time. Also, right. I've made this through hard work and how I treat people and what I do. Yeah. This is how I built a team. Now, today, I've refined those skills, but that mantra helped me go back into the security business and grow more. And then when I left the security business, this is when I was really lost and in a dark place because of some family arguments and stuff. I got invited by my friend to a Tony Robbins event. And this was my best friend who had a Domino's pizza business at the time, but we'd grown up together, like both poor and both started having some success. And he'd met a mentor within the Tony Robbins that was going to mentor us for Herbalife. And this is how I got into network marketing.
Oh, wow.
And so I found Tony Robbins and network marketing at the same time. Yeah. I was in a dark place in my life emotionally, looking for opportunity. I was like in early 30s. I thought my life had fallen apart. I had nothing to show. I had some savings. I'd made some money. I had some property and stuff, but not knowing where my next income is going to come from.
Right. Yeah.
And I joined Tony Robbins Platinum Partnership, which was like an investment at the time of. I was living in the UK, so to travel as much I knew I was signing up for about $250,000.
Maybe explain it to the listeners. So basically, that means you traveled with Tony Robbins for 1 year, and Tony takes his top clients, so to say, and you have certain
so it's his inner circle.
And offline event.
No, there wasn't offline at the time. It was all. I'm sorry, it wasn't online at the time. It was all offline.
Offline.
This was all pre-COVID. This is like 2013.
So you had to fly to America and wherever
to
Tony
America, exactly.
was.
And we flew to Fiji. So as a platinum partner, it's his inner circle. I think it was like an $85,000 sign up, plus $10,000 each event for 4 events, plus another $10,000 for like relationship, which was in Hawaii. I took my girlfriend at the time, plus charity donations, plus flights, plus hotels, plus this. And I was going back and forth to America or Australia.
So how much did this year cost you for?
Well, I did it for 5 years. So my
5 years?
Yeah. So my investment overall was circa, I don't know the exact amount, was circa $1 million.
Yeah, $1 million.
Yeah. But the first year was the most important. It's like we're taught, and it's like entrepreneurship and business. The first step is the hardest one, huh?
What did you learn from this the most? What was the key learning for you?
You know what? It's so hard to summarize into one thing. I mean, if I suppose I summarize into one thing, I would probably say that it would be to always be investing in myself, that I'm my best investment. I mean, if I was going to give you a top level one, but how it transformed my life is in every area of my life.
So if I put $1 million cash on the table today, and you would have to give back the experience from this time, from the 5 years, or in other words, would you do it again?
100%. Listen, I continue to invest in myself. So we met initially through Andy Elliott.
But again, let's stick to the Tony Robbins Platinum partnership that you had at this time. So let's talk about the learnings for the listener. That's the most important. So you did this commitment. That's fully understood. But what was the learning? Why did you also say I stay in it?
Do you know what? He has a number of events.
Yeah.
And his entry-level event, the Unleash the Power Within, is a 4-day event. And it's an overview of everything. So the other events go like business mastery, goes more into detail, life, but my life changed the most from the very first 4-day event. And so, as you're asking me, I think the biggest thing is...
For the listener, it's called the
Unleash the Power Within.
Unleash the Power Within.
Yeah.
And that's like a 4-day event where
you walk on fire the first night.
Yes, you walk on fire. You get different inputs. Yeah.
Yeah. And
from a personal perspective, not business, but more from personal. Yeah.
And do you know what I mean? I'm trying to really dig deep. It's a big question. You know, it's like, how do you have a successful business in one thing? There's how do you have a successful life in one thing? But I think that it grew my mind. Number one, here's what I can tell you now. I knew that I could change. There was one. So if you said to me today, what's the biggest thing I learned? I've transformed my body. I've transformed my finances. When we come to, I talk about the project I'm on now. There's a different mindset. I'll come back to on that. But the fact that I can change at any point.
Wow.
Right. And I think that's why he gets you to walk on fire. It's not that anything is possible. So I think when I went into that very first event and I was new to personal development, I just thought I'm born in this area to these parents and this kind of thing. And okay, I've done okay. And this is it. But it opened my eyes that I can change in any way. So I was able to transform my health, to transform, you know, if I don't know something, I can learn something. If somebody, you know, you're very fit, right? You're an athlete. If we want to go and run a marathon, we can understand my body shape is not a marathon running, but if I want to, I can train that way. Yeah.
I think that's a super learning for everyone listening, because it's so important to understand that we have it in our hand to change who we want to be and who we are. And I think that's such events like Tony Robbins, or you mentioned Andy Elliott or others, can help you to go this way. Also, such podcasts like now, like today, I think helps a lot. So I learned a lot from podcasts. That's also one of the reasons why I want to establish it, to give also more knowledge. And
the conversations are great as well, right? Now you enjoy, but you know, you talk about the podcast. Today we're in an era of podcasts. We're in an era of YouTube. We're in an era, like, go back to when we were talking about like the hustling side when I was doing the nightclubs. No one was teaching this stuff that I had learned. No, I had no one. I didn't have mentors. I didn't have anyone teach. It was literally just street smart.
Yeah. But nowadays you can even have
access
so much invention, and also you can have online mentors. You know,
Yeah.
people say like, I mean, you met not Tony Robbins in person many times, but even if you just want to listen to his information or listen to the CEO DNA podcast information, it's all there. So you don't need to meet in person and fly around the world. I think that's cool. So then you started with the self-development program for yourself. You also start with multi-level marketing. What was your learning? How did you reach so high in the top 0.3%? What's the learning we can do here?
Okay, well,
how did you do that?
So we were very fortunate because the person who mentored us was a hugely successful. He was number 9 in the world in the company we were in.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So, and he's huge, you know, back then was worth hundreds of millions. I mean, back then his house, we're going 15 years ago, was $35 million, and he had a beach house, $15 million. Okay. So to be next to somebody like that, what he did for us.
So big learning is also get the right mentor.
Get the right mentor, 100%. And the stuff that he taught me, I think that was belief. There's a few things here, okay? I believed in myself because I was already a successful entrepreneur. So I'd already made millions of dollars, okay? Many people that have had my success don't look at network marketing because you have to start at the bottom again.
Right.
Because in network marketing, you're starting at the bottom and they don't care what you've achieved, who you are. Celebrity, millionaire, doesn't make a difference. So I'd had success and I was humble enough to start at the bottom. So maybe humility is another one, right? Because other bigger guys, they like poo-poo it. No, I don't have the time for this thing, okay? But I understood, but my mentor gave me a vision of what was possible. Yeah. And I go back to the original, and Tony Robbins, actually, to what I learned, because I was at Tony Robbins at the same time, is if a human can do it, I can do it.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So he's just human. And he was earning X amount of money per month. And I said, wow, I want his life. He gave me the vision. That's what, you know, my time on earth, I had spent 10, 15 years in nightclubs and I had very little to show for it. I never sold the company.
Right.
And here this guy is in his $35 million mansion and 15 cars and fit. And man, I said, this is the life I want. So I need to follow this route. Now, so again, being a mentor, you should have the success that really qualifies you. So that we cannot underestimate how powerful a vision is for a CEO. The CEO has to have the vision. Steve Jobs used to say, my whole job is to go around and give people the vision. and remind people of the vision. That's his job, at that point. The job is to start it, but at a certain point, it's just the vision, right?
Yeah.
And so as a CEO, you have to have the vision, but also when you get a mentor, that depending, or especially in network marketing, they can give you the vision, and some people are unlucky, they don't get to that person to see the vision, if you understand what and because of the vision he gave me, because of his success, I became very coachable. And because I found Tony at the same time, and some of the skills that Tony taught me, and I valued it, I put into play here, and I said, I'm lucky enough to find this guy. I need to do what he says. I need to exchange my thoughts for his thoughts. Yeah. And I remember he gave me a saying actually one time. I remember I would kind of battle him one time, he's telling me something and I would say, and I remember the conversation, he was in the US, and I said, yeah, but you're telling me maybe this is going to work for you, maybe it's not going to work for my people. And he said, listen, Dan, you've had a lot of success. You've got a strong character. He goes, either we can both think like you and have what you've got, or we can both think like me and have what I've got. Okay, I understand. I think like you. And I just said, listen, and I understood that my job was to do what he told me to do, but to do it with my intensity, consistency, passion. That's my job. He's going to give me the plan. My job is just to do what he says with the very best I can. It's like if you go into like a jiu-jitsu class and the trainer's going to teach you, how good you're going to be is going to be down to how what you're going to do with what he's teaching you,
The teacher can show you certain things, but you then also have to execute it. Absolutely right. Yeah. No, very interesting. Yeah. And then you continue. What came after multi-level marketing?
So I did multi-level marketing for a number of years. And then just pre-COVID, I went back into my family business. So I stepped out of my family business. I got married, I had a baby. I moved to Spain, to Marbella. So that's what part of my dream life was, to live by the beach. So I was having passive income. We lived in like a 7-bedroom mansion next to the beach, was lovely. And then Brexit happened as well. We moved to Portugal, and then eventually, pre-Dubai, just before COVID, I went back into the family business, and there were some issues within the family. I took over. Now, a couple of things happened. Now I've gone back into a conventional business.
Right.
By the way, side of that, I invest like crypto and property and things like that. Okay, so I have like 7-figure portfolios in those things. All the stuff I learned from Tony wasn't just in health, in business and everything, but it's also in diversified investments and things like this. Okay, so it was holistic.
I think it's super learning for entrepreneurs. I met many entrepreneurs who said, Michael, all my money is in my business, and I can just recommend early enough to start to build other investments next to that, fully independent. I think that's very important.
And this is why, to your earlier question, I'm always going to invest in personal development, because I'm always a different me. So, and there's different things I take from people, and I need to learn different things at different time. If someone had taught me investment when I was in a different point in my life, it wouldn't be as relevant, So anyway, so I went back into the family business. Now, what was really unique for me, after becoming successful in network marketing, where you're not a boss, you're a leader, and you have to lead by example. You cannot tell people, hey, you work for me, come at this time. You don't pay people, so they only follow you if they want to follow you. So I was able to build 8,000 people in 42 countries in my network marketing. I have a very strong leadership.
Right.
And what shaped that leadership for me was what I learned with Tony, because Tony does a lot of leadership teaching, but also my mentor was an incredible, we say a mentor cuts decades into days. So he helped me process and integrate Tony's teachings as well as his own version. So we would always discuss a lot, because respectfully, I'm paying Tony for the event and I go and it's for me what I do. But when I'm talking to my mentor regularly, we're really integrating. Yeah. So when I went back into my family business now, and now I'm a boss, I'm now operating like a leader versus a boss. And the things that I learned with Tony Robbins and also my mentor that I was using in my network marketing business, they started to come into play with my security business. As a family business, as a family that was poor, building the business, working hard, we weren't focused on KPIs and SOPs and culture and core values, and no one was teaching. We didn't have mentors, right? So now I started to implement a lot more of this stuff, hands-on. I started. You said I've been in different industries, and I learned something from Tony Robbins. He said, if you do what your competitor is doing in your business, but you do it better, you'll stay in business. Maybe you'll get ahead. If you bring from another industry what's not in your industry, you'll dominate your industry. So part of my USP and my magic, my secret, for me, I've been in so many different industries. So I can cross-pollinate. So in network marketing, when we're training 8,000 people, we're not going to do it one-to-one. So we would do video trainings. So I started to make video SOPs in my family business. So now, as we were, and this is good for someone who's got a team of staff, that you, right? Conventional business, you employ somebody, let's just say you have a finance person.
Right.
You employ a new finance person, this finance person needs to train this finance person, so now they're both busy, so now you have downtime in your business. I made small video SOPs for everything. Now we can recruit like this. And we can put them in a room.
The new newbies can just watch the video
and keep watching the videos. Like for the first week, they sit in the training room, watch the videos, the business works as normal.
You mentioned also something with leadership. What exact moment did you actually realize that leadership is not about confidence, but carrying responsibility when you have no clue what will happen next?
The experience of being with Tony Robbins and network marketing and my mentor is all like one kind of like
one learning,
connected experience. Okay, so Tony teaches, and Tony's the best teacher in the world in my opinion, and he does experiences which rewire the brain. But he teaches leadership, and when you understand it, look, I do a lot of listening to Tony's stuff, right? Because I have all his access to stuff. So even when I go for a run, I listen to audios and things like this. So. And he has one thing where they talk about behavioral stuff. It's not actually Tony teaching, it's somebody else, but they get children and they show like a cube. One side is green, one side is red. So like we're here. And if I say, I see green, one side is red, one side is green. I see green, what side do you see? Yes. The children would say green. No, sorry. They say, what side do you see? You say red. So what color do you think I see? You say red. Because the net of it is, even though you know the other side is different, you think I see what you see as a child. So what does this mean? It means that we're hardwired as children to think that everyone is the same. When you start to learn leadership, you start to understand, no, you have to appreciate everybody's differences and communicate the way they do, and you understand things differently.
And the benefit of having the different opinion on a table.
It's not about being right, it's about making it right. It's about how do you get the people to move. I can sit here and argue that my way is the right way, but if you're working for me and you're not going to move, that's not going to help me.
That's also one thing I always say in our business. I think it's so important to hear every opinion. If you later on take it or not, it's your decision later on. But I think at least to hear it and understand that it has some value to the business to look at its different opinion. Yeah.
And in network marketing, when I got to a high level, which I got to in the first couple of years, like I went very fast, but first maybe a year, 2 years, I was sitting on the table with the corporate office. That also gave me a lot of experience. So being an entrepreneur, I'm small. I'm the small guy, one man, then I have some staff, and this is my experience of life. When you sit next to a big company, the company I'm in is $10 billion a year, and I'm sitting with their corporate office and how they structure things. This was a different learning. So now I'm an entrepreneur learning corporate. And that's also their structure in leadership and how we communicate. So when you have a big team, how you have the top level of leadership that you talk to, and you help them talk it down, and then you give responsibility so you don't micromanage, Yeah. And I remember my mentor taught me in network marketing, he said, your team is directly under you. When you have a bit of a leader, like not even so big, but even 5 people in their team, whatever, everything under them is theirs. So what he's saying, you can never overstep and talk to those people like they're yours, like you're the bigger guy. And these little things were like the lessons to understand, because then you start to empower people versus if I build somebody and they're starting to build and they have some small momentum and I'm this big guy up here and they're small, hey, I'll just talk to them because I'm bigger than you and I'm, no, this squashes them. That's a very powerful thing in leadership, because then this is how you get people to follow you and to feel comfortable and to be empowered and to step into their own power. And the more you can build people up to take responsibility, then you start to have a business.
Right, Yeah, you built and be part of this multi-level marketing business. Give us one more hint. How did you reach so fast, so high? What were your unique skill? What is your superpower? What has been your superpower to reach that?
I would say in 2 words is intensity and consistency.
Right.
I think, look, if there's something about doing something, and again, you can have your own standard. Like I always like to do stuff. If I'm, for example, like look, here we are at the water on the coast. You could put the water here. You could put it,
you can put it properly.
There's a standard of how to be nice, okay?
Right.
Of how to do things the right way. So I have a standard number 1, but I think people underestimate intensity. Think about boiling water. If I could put this. I don't know what the temperature of water boils at. And let's just say 80 degrees. I don't know what the temperature is, right? If we put it at 60 degrees. For 10 hours, it's not going to boil. It needs to go for 80 degrees for a couple of minutes, then it's going to boil. And that's life and business, right? people sometimes they do too much. They do for too long a period, like changing your body in the gym. If you push weights and it's not changing you, like it's not stressing you, it's time under tension. It's how much is going to.
Right.
So intensity is an underrated factor.
So everything sounds then great, and you started the multi-level marketing. You had also the family business running. You made money. You became a father, and then one morning you woke up and had a heart attack.
Yeah. So that was a very surreal, weird experience. I mean, a lot happened from there. I moved to Dubai. I went through divorce. I had a lot of stress. I had some legal battles with the family and the family business. So there was a lot of like I said, the life's been through ups and downs. Okay.
Right.
But overall, if somebody said to me, was I stressed out? I wasn't really working. I had taken some time out of work. I didn't feel stressed. I was living a pretty good life. I was living a pretty healthy life. I thought, my business was in nutrition and health. So I was I was a little bit overweight, but not really that compared to most. And then I had a pain in my chest. As a guy, like we just kind of put it to the side. And I had some meetings and my friend said, listen, cancel the meetings, just drive to the hospital, just be safe. And I went and they straight away, they put me in and they did the operation that day. Thank God it was in Dubai and not anywhere else. And the hospitals here are great. And so for a brief moment in that experience, I wasn't really scared because I wasn't in pain. I didn't crash. Like it was just, I drove myself to the hospital. They put a stent in my heart. But just before I went into operation, I understood how severe the situation was. I started to think about my finances. I started to think about my son, what kind of father I've been, what he's going to need if I don't come through. Right. And for this brief moment of about an hour, I was a little bit scared, like reflecting on life. And my friends were messaging me, do I need anything? I just said, listen, if anything happens, help my son and his mum, like take care of whatever's needed, And it just brought a lot to my life. After the experience, when I did the operation, I was out the next day. It made me question a couple of things. Why did it happen? Because I thought I was healthy. Yeah. And I was way healthier. I mean, I don't do drugs, I don't smoke, I don't drink alcohol. I go to the gym every day. So why would it happen to somebody like me, right? At 46 years old. And then the second thing was, nothing really means anything. So like whatever I want to do, I need to go and do it. I don't want to die with my dreams inside of me. I felt like I was playing too small. And I came to the conclusion, for me, that the heart attack was a spiritual awakening.
Oh, wow.
To say, because nothing really happened badly. It was like a scare. I never, I didn't have open heart surgery. They did a very...
But you woke up this morning, you told me one day, and you felt something, and you actually drove yourself still to the hospital.
So I was in the UK. I took my son to a football match in Wembley, celebrity football match, and I had some pains in my shoulders. And I flew back like that night and nothing. And a couple of days later, I had some pains. And then I was going to go to some meetings, and I was talking to one of my friends. He said, "How are you?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm okay. Well, actually, I've got this pain in my chest." And I don't even know why I told him. Right. And he said something, "This happened to my cousin. Please go to the hospital." I said, "Well, I've got meetings. I'll go after the meeting." No. And I was in pain. I was in real agony. Yeah. But I thought, I'm going to hold a brave face in the meetings, right? And he said, "No, go." And eventually I listened to him and I went to hospital. And
so one learning for everyone, it can hit everyone, even if you think you have a super healthy lifestyle. Sometimes things are connected. But then for you, it was really an awakening. And I think it's super learning for everyone listening is also, we can write the story how we want. We can make it positive or negative for us. And you said, no, I take this, actually more negative event as a positive way. It was an enlightening moment for me. It helped you to be more spiritual and also to now follow something what is truly close to your heart is education for kids.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a mix of many things. So I think what it did, the heart attack, was take away my fear.
Right. Fear of dying?
I think fear of many things. It's like, I can be honest now and look back, and there's moments in my life where I've been criticized, where things have not gone good, and I'm scared to do the next thing. Like when people go on social media, you have to be very brave to put yourself out there. And eventually, however good you are, people are going to have haters and they're going to say and I think some of us are fearful from starting in case we fail or we get attacked or whatever. And so I think there has been things where I've played smaller. Right. And so and I don't want to try and mix too many things, but you asked me before and I wanted to tell you this, but I need to bring it for the right time.
Yes.
What I learned with Tony Robbins, okay? So within the group, I was in the inner circle, the platinum partner. So we would travel together. And in addition to what we learned from Tony and the experience, and by the way, the self-worth that you can afford to be in this circle, you're mixing with certain people, so the conversation is higher.
Yes.
So one guy said one time, we'd say, what's your biggest learning? Right? We'd all ask each other. One guy said, it takes the same time to have $1 million idea as it does to have $100 million idea. So it's really just the power of your confidence.
Right.
Okay. So let me fast forward to today, now in a new startup. And look, funny enough, before I came here today, so I'm in an edtech startup.
Right.
Okay. I'm the CEO and founder. And it's an evolution of many different things that have come to where I am today. The first one is that my life changed a lot with Tony Robbins. I learned stuff in my early 30s that I didn't learn in school. And I asked myself, why didn't kids learn this? Or I'm sorry, why didn't I learn this in school?
Yeah.
So, okay, so now I thought this is the new education that everybody needs.
Yeah.
Then when I became a father, I said, I'm going to teach my son homeschooling. But then we divorced. And so just because of the dynamics, he ended up going to like private school. Like we have a lot of cultural influence. Like we can have an idea, but culturally, if the masses are influencing us, you sometimes fall into what's around you, right? Which is why culture is so powerful. Yeah. So he went to school. So just before the heart attack, I was going to open a school in Africa. I had a plan to open a school in Africa because I really wanted to teach personal development. I believe that children are our future. And I also believe Africa is our future, like as in like these up and coming developing countries. And for me, it would have been affordable and a lower barrier to entry. You know, if I can't go and buy a school in the UK, but I can buy a school in Africa, okay? And I can have more control. And then I had my heart attack. So this is back then. So fast forward, you have the evolution of AI, technology, things moving faster. But what's interesting is in all my businesses, my average business, and I had about 3 or 4 different businesses, all hit around $8 to $10 million a year, never beyond. So I became an investor as well along the journey while I was in Dubai, not working. I became an investor in a fintech company, and I saw how far it grew up, and that's valued unofficially at $17 billion right now. Okay, so if you had asked me, and that happened in 3 years. So I'm looking as someone as an entrepreneur that's worked for 10, 15 years, and maybe the company's worth a couple of million. You know, you can start something here. So you see the mindset shifts of what you believe is possible. And so before I came here today, I did a valuation online, like an external. I had to input loads of stuff and pay for this special company to evaluate. And my company is valued at 150 million as of today.
Oh, my bro, there you go.
So, which is crazy for me to think that in 3 months. So when you say what's all the things that you learn now, I would tell you now, what I'm actually doing. I'm bringing Tony Robbins style education in terms of how it's taught. And also the things that are taught, life skills, emotional intelligence, financial literacy, kidpreneurship, leadership we're talking about. This is what we're teaching on the platform to kids.
For kids, what's the age group?
7 to 12.
7 to 12. Right.
Yeah, and it's taught in a style like Tony Robbins. So there's 25 different quizzes. It's interactive.
Live?
And the beta version is live. It's 95%. The actual full stack will be built within a week. But I mean, my son is using it over an hour a day for the last 2 weeks. And we're having test groups as well.
I saw a video of it already, so very interesting. No, very good.
You're already here. Let's build this relationship. If you're still watching, there's a reason. You're not here for the noise. You're here for the real story. So join us properly, subscribe. Let's stay close and let's grow this conversation and this group together.
So what's still the plan for the future?
With the app or in life in general?
The app and then in life.
Okay. So the app is very, very exciting. Listen, I feel more alive now, and I'm living off of like 3-4 hours sleep a day, but because I want to. And we come back to some of your earlier questions, like what is leadership? So today I'm building a new team, right? And I have a very small team at the minute. We're outsourced. I'm leveraging it. I mean, it's when you have a different goal, the questions you ask are different and the answers you get are different.
100%.
Right? So this is an evolution, because leadership can be the mum at home with the kids, or it can be the billionaire CEO, okay? So, and everything counts, but it's like you can do a job good, but sometimes you're in a different market and it just pays a different, like if we're a footballer, it pays a different wage, and you could be a toilet cleaner and equally have passion and commitment, but it just pays different, okay? So we're in a great industry right now. I believe I'm doing something great for the world, helping kids and the education and where we can go. So very exciting times. We're launching Q1 of next year, 2026. I'm recruiting, I'm raising, there's lots of stuff to do. My overall goal at the minute as it stands, and it might change, but is to build it and exit within 2 years. Probably exit because of the evolution of tech and how fast things are, fast-paced things are going. Right. So I kind of want to get in, build it, and then hand it over to somebody else that's going to take it much bigger. But we need to review when we get there. Do you know? So this is the plan.
So what will happen to you personally? What's still your personal goals? My
personal goals. I mean, my personal goals, number one, is getting this live. I feel like I've been given a gift. I feel God's hand on my shoulder with this project. So it's amazing to do and to actually bring it to fruition. This part is more about business. As we get bigger, as we start having a bigger team, right. Personal goals, keep myself healthy.
Keep yourself healthy. I see you in the gym all the time and being healthy, and I'm super excited to see this business, and maybe you come back to the podcast when it's evaluated or when it's sold or when you reach the $1 billion mark.
Hopefully now, and we've come here from being friends. It's great to be here. I know you was on my podcast before. It's great for me to be here with you. I think that, but now we're friends. Yes. We should be friends for life, and we go on a journey together. Sure. Do you know what I mean? So it'll be an honor to come back again.
It has been an honor to talk to you. Thank you for all this insights of your life and all the learnings we can take from it. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Before you go, a quick note to all the entrepreneurial listeners out there. If you're looking for a reliable and efficient way to scale your online business and payments, I highly recommend checking out Kloep.com. It's designed to streamline your processes from payment processing to customer management, all in one platform. Whether you're just starting out or you're looking to scale up, Kloep provides the tools you need to succeed. Visit Kloep.com today and see how it can transform your business operations. Dive in and start optimizing your sales processes now.